So why the elite are not professional wrestlers? Now, I made a video to talk about Seth Rollins is a professional wrestler and the elite are not. And this is a video to sum up my, I guess you could say that, because I talked about it, but not briefly. The elite are not professional wrestlers of what they did with CM Punk. So when that whole brawl out happened, everybody saw money was about to be made. Everybody in their Wonder, Stevie Wonder blind ass saw that too. Tony Khan, if he was smart, I know he saw that. But Tony Khan has more to blame with the CM Punk going to WWE. He has more to blame with all that situation, but we're not going to talk about this in this video. We're going to address why the elite are not professional wrestlers. If you're a professional wrestler, you put your ego aside, you put your dislike or disdain for a person aside, and you do what's best for business. You do what's good for the company. You do what's good for the boys. What's good for the boys is the Punk versus the Elite storyline, because you know why? There was already a built-in storyline. You didn't have to talk about my mama said this, he said this about my mama. You don't have to even fight over the title because there was already a built-in storyline with the brawl-out situation. That's all you needed. Having Punk and the Elite sign contracts about not talking about it, that don't help nobody. Let's use that into a storyline, which Tony Khan could have done. But see, the thing about Tony Khan is he can't book worth a shit. What I think he was trying to do was not have it talked about, so when the storyline does come out, then he could do it. But the problem was, he not only waited too late, he didn't try to have the Elite try to talk to Punk. I would have went to the Elite. Tony should have went to Elite and say, hey, look, Punk's coming back in a few months. He's going to have AEW Collision. Look, I need you guys to work it out because I want to do a build and storyline for All In. That's be good for pay-per-view. And I want to have Punk versus Omega. That's going to sell. And I really want that for All Out. Can you guys try to talk it out because I want to do what's best for the business, and this will be good for the business. Talk to him as a businessman. If you talk to him like that, you can see that. No, he didn't do that. In those new contracts that they were going to get offered all that money, he should have had it signed where you work with CM Punk. Not 6 months down the road, All In. When they were at those new contracts, I would say you have to work with CM Punk. You would think they would have turned that money down? Hell no. WWE wasn't going to pay Young Bucks that money. They would have said yes to it. And if they would have said yes, guess who else would have said yes? Kenny Omega. So this all goes back to Tony Khan. Tony Khan has all the money in the world, but not all the sense. And that's his fucking fault. I would have had the Elite versus, let me say this again, versus CM Punk and FTR at All In. And All Out would have been CM Punk versus Kenny Omega. And that would have continued the storyline. I would have turned, by the crowd reaction, the way things were going, it was a lot more, and Punk was getting booed, so I would have turned Punk heel. And you would have had a heel Punk, which is good for business, because heel Punk is good. And you could have had Kenny Omega win that AEW title that he was carrying around for a while. That's all they had to do. And there you go. There's a storyline there for you. But the Elite are more to blame than anybody. Say what you want about Tony Khan, but the Elite should have put their egos aside, their bias aside, their jealousy aside, and worked with CM Punk and said, let's do business, let's make some money, and they'd be good. All the pay-per-views, they could have made money off of this. They could have did this for months. They gave us a Blackpool Combat Club versus Elite, which was nauseating at its finest. They could have did that with CM Punk. CM Punk would have gave them the buy rates. You don't think Punk would have not want to done business with you, boy? Yes, they would have done business. Punk felt disrespected by the Elite because no guys want to come and talk to him. That doesn't help when the Elite are already in their own group and not looking, trying to talk to this man, which we don't know will happen. But it comes to find out that Elite were pretty jealous of the fact that Tony Khan gave CM Punk all what he wanted to do, book his own segment, do what he wanted to do. And here we are. Do I blame Tony not to control this? I do. I blame him too. But I also blame the Elite not being adults about the situation, not looking at the forest before the trees. If you get what I'm saying, not looking ahead and mapping this out as a long game than a short game. stop being egotistical maniacs trying to run the company to the ground. And that's what they're doing. AEW is the least talk about company right now. Even TNA, Impact is talked about because they're going back to TNA. New Japan is not a factor. Ever since the Elite left, they've been a non-factor, which they should have stayed in New Japan. Because they could have had that company running probably pretty well. But again, Tony Khan offered us money. He would say, let's start a company in here, which wasn't a bad idea. But the Elite are not professional wrestlers because they don't try to work with talent to make money. They want to work with their friends. They want to work with guys they can have these gymnastic, athletic matches with. They want to super kick everybody to hell. You got Hangman Page, probably the only one who kind of differs from trying to get from serious to comical. He's pretty good at that, and I'll give him credit where credit's due. I don't think he's a main event star, but I can see him as a mid-card. Kenny Omega is a main event, straight up, because he can have main event caliber matches. Guys with AJ Styles, guys like Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, Lord have mercy. Do I think a guy like Kenny Omega would get paid a lot more money in WWE than he is in AEW? Absolutely. His pedigree speaks for itself. He's a lot more older now, even though I think he can't do a full-time schedule. And again, I don't think WWE will have him wrestle all that much anyway. He needs to be leaving immediately. He does not need to waste his years in AEW too much longer. Fuck the Bucks, fuck the Elite, fuck that group, and go to WWE. Make you some money. But he's part of that whole Elite squad too. He should have said, no, let's work with this guy because he can make us some money. We can make money together. But the Bucks and their egos, and Hangman Page and all that group, all the Cucamonga kids, all of that group are not professional wrestlers. They're wrestlers, gymnastics, but they're not professional. Because if they were true professional wrestlers, they would work with CM Punk and make some serious money. It's sad. It's sad. You look at CM Punk, what business he's doing with WWE. He's working with Seth Rollins. That's a true professional wrestler. Roman Reigns is a true professional wrestler. Cody Rhodes is a true professional wrestler. Even if they have issues with CM Punk, they're going to work with him. Because you know why? That's best for business. Chris Jericho came out and said most guys who work at AEW need to work with Vince McMahon. You're damn right they need to. And you need to tell them what's good for business and what is good for what makes a professional wrestler is be professional with the guy you dislike. You can make money. Now, do I think Punk is to blame a little bit too? Probably so. I don't know if it was Punk or Jericho not wanting, because you had Punk and Jericho in the same company and they didn't even say two words to each other on TV-wise, which is bullshit because they have history. But it is what it is. I ain't got nothing to say because AEW has now become the Canadian show. You got every goddamn name Canadian on that motherfucker. Christian Cage, Kenny Omega, Chris Jericho, Edge, some other names I'm forgetting, but those are the top four. And they barely sold out Montreal. What does that tell you? Because AEW is just not a talked about commodity anymore, and here we are. But as always, guys, like, subscribe. Peace. Have a Johnson day. Let's talk to the next video.